guys, what's up? This is Bama Jaybird Resell. I'm Josh, and today we are going to take a look at what is sold really between the Friday before Halloween through the Tuesday after Halloween. Now, I've already made one shipment. I don't have those items to show you. I will tell you about them, and we'll give the grand total for these few days of sales. It was 27 items total. 13 that have already been shipped, 14 that I'm pulling today for shipping, and the 27 items in total sold for $832.11. So not too bad, not as good as maybe the last long weekend that I had, but we had some things going on. We had gone down to see some family in Montgomery. So I've also got a really awesome sourcing video that I'm going to try to get put together, where we went to some thrift stores, some Goodwills and other places and did some picking, and we had some really awesome finds. I'll try to get that out as soon as possible, and I'm really excited about showing you what we found. But anyway, we had left Sunday, and so I had went ahead and packed up 13 of these items on Sunday afternoon after church, and we took with us so that we could get them in the mail on Monday to prevent having to put the store on any kind of a pause. I have 3-day shipping, so I knew that if I done that, then as long as I got my shipping back out on Wednesday, then I'd be in good shape. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to get this stuff packaged up and ready to go to get to the post office today. This is Wednesday, so these are sales through Tuesday. I think there might be one sale from this morning at the end of this, but that's the only one from today so far. Most of those, weekday sales generally come in the afternoon, evening time. So, all right. The other thing that I want to do in this video, the topic that I want to look at, and I may end up making this a separate video, but I'll give you a little bit of a prelude. So one of the things that I want to do is kind of take a look at these first 90 days, this first 90 days of being a full-time eBay reseller. Now, if you've watched my introduction video, you know that I made this decision kind of last minute in a way. I wasn't necessarily completely prepared for it, though I had been thinking about this. My wife and I have been praying about it, discussing it, due to my mom's dementia and the fact that she needed someone to be around more, and we were needing to really start making plans for how to care for her in the time going forward when, it begins to get more difficult, because we know that time's coming, and it's already to a degree it's here. But so I've got the building project that I've got a couple of videos about. That's also where I'm moving eBay to eventually. All my storage and my processing will be over there, and I'll be doing listing from that area as well. That said, I'm going to be looking not only at how the last 3 months compare to the 3 months prior, but to get a more clear view of how big of a difference it has made in the store, we'll be looking at things like, how this last 3 months compares to the same 3 months last year. And so I think that really is worthy of its own video. It may not be super long, maybe like an 8 to 10 minute video, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I had planned, that was the topic I had planned to address in this one, but for the most part in this video, we're going to stick with what sold. But just as a little teaser, be watching for that video to come out in the next week or so. I'll put together, and I'm going to be very transparent with the numbers. I was a part-time reseller before, and I say part-time, it was more, I enjoyed it. It was kind of hobbyish. I was growing, and I enjoyed the hunt, but I didn't have a very large eBay store. And so I've begun this process of ramping things up, pretty fast, really in the last 6 months, especially more so in the last 3 months, but it really began in May, because I still, even though I didn't know I wasn't going back to my job, I knew that between May and when I got out of school and going back to school maybe in August, if I was going to go back to work, that I wanted to take advantage of that time, not only to source, but to put a lot of time into really building the store up and making it more profitable. And so I had begun that task before I made the decision to do this full time. And partly the results of those first couple of months of increasing the size helped me feel confident in where this could go. Now, I do this by myself. I don't have really any help. My wife sometimes will accompany me to pick and things like that. But 99% of this I do by myself. And so I'm really looking not to create at this point more than just my income. That's what I'm shooting for. The income that I had as a teacher, if I can recreate that income through eBay and other revenue streams, then I'll be good. And I do have some other revenue streams that are already coming in. So I don't have to 100% replace my teacher income only with this particular, endeavor. But eBay will, it will account for probably in the end like 80% of it. So anyway, that's where we are. Let's take a look at what sold, and then, like I said, I'll be getting a video out to you in a couple of days, kind of giving you a look at the numbers and how this whole venture of transitioning from full-time public employee as a teacher to full-time eBay reseller and caregiver for my mother is going, and just so you can kind of have an idea. Some of you may be facing similar situations. Maybe it's a different, maybe not your mom or a case like that, but something where you're considering going full time and you want to know, can I do this, and what will it take, and how do I get there? And so hopefully seeing some of these numbers will help you kind of get an idea of where it can go if you devote the right energy, if you do the right, if you just put the right effort into it. That's really what it comes down to. All right, so let's take a look at what's sold. Okay, let's take a look at the items that are going out today. Like I said, 13 items have already shipped. I shipped those on Monday that I'd packaged up Sunday afternoon. These are 14 new items that sold between Sunday evening and I think one item early this morning. This is Wednesday. So really this is more Monday and Tuesday sales with maybe one or two Sunday evening and one Wednesday morning sprinkled in. But 14 sales for $481.74. Again, the total sales that began on Friday last week, and this would have been like Friday afternoon, evening through, again, I have one sale this morning on Wednesday. The total would have been 27 items for $832.11. So let's take a look. Some really cool items. This first thing up is this is a DVD of Pink Floyd. This is the Pompeii performance. This is from an old buy. I had bought quite a few DVDs, some series, a lot of music DVDs. I learned a lesson. This was early on. These have actually been sitting kind of stored in a death pile. I bought these, I'm pretty sure this was during the very first fall garage sale season that I took part in. And at that time, I didn't know that I needed to do this on every single DVD purchase that I make. But as all of you know, I know that sounds really ignorant, at this point, but as all of you know, if you buy a DVD, you better check and make sure it's in there. I had checked several, but I wound up buying a stack, I bought so many things, and I just didn't, after I went through a few, I thought, this person obviously takes care of their stuff. Everything was back in the sleeves and in the cases, and so I thought, what's the point? But then when I got home, I had like a long set of Seinfeld, like all the seasons of Seinfeld, and there were 2 discs missing. I had to end up ordering those in order to be able to list those. And the same way, I think I had like 9 seasons or 10 seasons of Family Guy that I purchased, and I had a missing disc, one missing disc out of all of that. It's easy to do. So, you got to watch out, make sure that you pay attention when you're buying any kind of CD or DVD. Make sure it's in the package. All right, next item. So going through these again in order of how they sold more than money today. But this is something on this. Give me just a second. Got some glue on it. I don't think that was me, but anyway, this is a firewood delivery truck. This is Department 56 from Snow Village. So this is the original set that Department 56 put together, the Snow Village set. And this is a really awesome item. I want to show it to you, so I'm going to take it, slide it out really quick and let you see the side of it. It's kind of in those John Deere colors, the green with the yellow. I love this. I'm a country boy. Grew up around the wood industry. I've worked it with my dad. My dad was in the Navy, of course, and retired. But he retired the year after I was born. And so after working public jobs for a few years, he wound up working for himself mostly. And so he had a portable sawmill, band sawmill that we worked, and also he logged for a while. And so I've got a background that's kind of connected to the timber industry. I've worked at a sawmill quite a bit, even at larger sawmills and planer mills, a couple of other ones that were production style after that time working with my dad. So I always think, and we got firewood, you know, I have a wood heater. We had wood heat at my house that I grew up in. And so I just always thought stuff like that was really cool. So I liked that one. I was kind of almost hoping it wouldn't sell. I thought I might put it out this Christmas and just kind of display it for a little while. But anyway, I sold that for $13 plus shipping. Did I get caught up talking about this and forget? Can't remember, but it was $7.99 plus ship if I did forget. So the next item, this is a trucker hat, just a mesh, snapback, Georgia boot. Of course, Georgia boots are pretty popular, at least where I'm from. They're fairly popular. People especially like the farm and ranch boots, the ones that have the flat soles. But this sold for $5. Again, not a huge sale. My value per sale, or you know, I guess that's right, the average price per sale for this last weekend was not as high as it had been some weekends. I do have some really good sales, but I have several that are just kind of, you know, okay, and a few that are low dollar. So that kind of ate into my profit a little bit per item. This right here, this is a set of women's King Cobra, Lady Cobra in this case, golf grips. There are 5 of them, 5 new grips, and I sold these for $39.99 plus shipping. I think I have $3 total in those. Another set, I think that's 9 or 10, and then a couple of putter grips that I bought new. And I bought those at a local thrift store, thrift shop. That to me, I guess it's about 35 minutes away. You know, I live out in a rural area, so pretty much, except for there is a small one in my hometown, but I pretty much have to drive 30 miles to get to a place to thrift. But this is one of my favorite spots. I feel like it's kind of like my own little honey hole. I find some really cool items there and good values. Paid $3 for all of those grips. Those sold for basically $40. The other listing is probably going to sell for better than $100. And then I got a couple of individuals that are up as well. So that'd be a really good profit for spending $3. And they were kind of excited to see them purchased. This next item, this is an NIV set of the audio Bible. This is Bible on CD. And just ease it open just a little bit so you can kind of see. They're in these individual, it's Zondervan. So it's a really nice set. Now, I'm a King James person myself, to each their own, but that's what I grew up on. That's what I love. I love the poetic nature of it, and I wouldn't have anything else. But this is a really nice set, complete set, 64 CDs, and this is going out for $19.99. These sell fair. I've sold multiple sets of the Bible on CD, sometimes the Bible on like an MP3 style player. They sell pretty well if you find the right ones and you don't have too much in them. They're not, like I said, they're not something that most of the time you're going to sell for a big pile of money. But if you can get something like that for a couple of dollars, like at a thrift store, $2 or $3, and you're willing to, you know, sit on it for a couple of months, they don't move super fast. But if you'll price it competitively, it'll go out the door and it'll make you some money. So $19.99 on that. All right, the next item. This is a clothing item. Might be out of the frame just a second here. I'm gonna reach over. I pulled this stuff already. This is a pair of Levi's. You probably can't see or tell much about this, but these are 511. So 511 is another one of those designations that's less common than some of them are. This is a 30-32, so it's not a big size. And it's not a big money item. This was $14.79. I sent out an offer of $14.79. Had them listed for $19.99. And this, again, is a pair of those pants I get at some of my local thrift stores. I got 2 or 3 of them where I can usually snag Levi's for between $2 and $3. And so, you know, I feel like that's good. I mean, I know some people don't like to make sales that are under 30, 40 bucks. I feel good about making it. Look, if I make 3 sales like this that I've got $2 to $3 in, let's say on average, if I sold 3 pair of Levi's, I would have at most about $9 in them. At best, it might be 6. So definitely less than 10. So if I sell 3 pair and say I have to take basically $15 on average per pair, well, 10 into 45, that's not terrible. I know some people don't like those numbers, but 10 into 45 is good with me. And in many cases, that would be like 6 or 7 into 45. And that's assuming they sell for 15. Many times over when I sell a pair of Levi's, this is about as little as I take for a pair, like 14, 15 bucks. Normally it's $20 up to $40 or $50, depending on what the style is. So, you know, I'm good with that. I make plenty of money off of them in the long run, especially for it to be worth my while. So next item, you may have seen this in a previous video. I can't remember if it made the video or not, but this is a Ralph Lauren polo, and it's been refolded. I may actually take this out and redo it, but this, you can't even see it. It's got a very nice large display on the front, a stitched polo horse, big pony, and then down one sleeve it also has a print, screen print. So and it's a hooded shirt. It's like I said, a really nice color, kind of like that teal green or aqua green or blue color. But this sold. The person that got it said they just didn't like the way it fit, and so, or didn't like the way it looked on them. You know, you get those generic responses for the reason why they return it. But I took it back, sent back their refund, and got it listed back up, and it sold before I even had time to repackage it. I mean, it's been, I just brought this in out of my truck. It's been in my truck about 3 days over the weekend, and in the time that I picked it up at the post office, left it in my truck while we were gone, and then over the weekend it sells again. So I'll take that. It sold for $22 on an offer. 22 bucks. And I think I bought that at America's Thrift Store. Their stuff is a little higher. I think it was $7, $6.99 for that. So 7 into about 22. Not a huge money maker. But I knew when I saw that it would sell. And I knew that it would make money. And I was confident because of the style of that particular, you know, not everything Polo Ralph Lauren is going to fly out the door. I can guarantee you that. But there are unique items, vintage items. Some of their higher end stuff can do really well, and some things that are more unique like that have more stuff going on, the bigger pony, the screen print, it's got a hood, that makes it more sellable. And so that item has sold now 2 times, honestly, if you think about it, within about 3 months or less. So I'll take those numbers as far as the movement and for that money anytime. The next item, this is a belt. If you watched previous videos, I'm pretty sure I got this on video, but this is an over-under. It's kind of a men's brand over-under, kind of like the over-under shotguns is what I was talking about. But this retails for $55. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but this is American made. I love their little tag here, not made in China. So you'll see it's got the hunting dogs and American flags on it. Very cool belt. I listed this up. This, again, is new with tags. I got this out of that same thrift store that I got the polo that I just showed you. I think I gave $5.99, about $6 for this. But I sold this belt for $24 plus shipping. So that's going out to repeat buyer. I had sold a wallet, is what I was going to say, by the same company that was also new. I think I got $30 for it. It's $20 or $30 for it, and I gave like $3 for that. The next item, this is another belt. This is a Brighton. It's going to be kind of hard to see probably, but it is Brighton. It's kind of got that crocodile-like embossing on it, and it's a vintage belt. So it's got the brass, the heavy brass buckle, and embellishments on it the same way on the tip. And yeah, it has some wear, patina, if you will. To me, it just gives it character. It makes it really cool. But the belt itself is in excellent condition. This is not one that was a big money item. Again, I sold several items this time that weren't huge money items. This sold for $11, but I gave like $2.99 for it. Sold it for $11 plus shipping. That's going out the door. Next item, a pair of Carhartt pants. This is another one of those $2.50 items. So a pair of Carhartts. Sold these for $15. I think I told you in a previous video that I've noticed this, and maybe it's been this way, I'm not sure. But I felt like when I first started sourcing about 3 years ago, when I started tinkering with eBay a little bit, I thought Carhartt was going to be a much better brand based on some comps that I was pulling up, and maybe I just didn't understand it as well. I had I generally felt like pants that were in pretty good shape were going to be an easy $20 to $25 item. But I have found that really, even though sometimes they may sell for that, I mean, you can find sold comps in that area, that price range. and they're definitely more expensive as a retail item. But I found that to really get them to move, you got to be $20 or less, really under 20 to really get them to move. I sold these for 15 bucks. Now, I mean, I was okay with that, even though I might could have held on to them and got 18 or 20 out of them, maybe even a little more. But I got 15 fast. So I turned my $2 into $15 in a hurry, and I can go back, you know. And the way I look at it, I've told you this before. If I can take the profit that I get out of this, take the fees and all that stuff out, let's say there's $14, because I'm sure you'll have a little bit left over from shipping. Let's say there's 14, and then 14 minus the 250. Let's just call it 3. Let's say that that's 11, and just to be so $11, then we got to factor in like income taxes. So let's say 20%. Let's just say we end up with $8. I think that's fair. Let's say we end up with $8. By taking 15 for these, if I can take that and then go back and buy 4 more pair, just like these, okay? 4 pair of these would be $8. And if all of them sold for 15, that's 60 bucks. That's 8 into 60. So my 2 became 8. My 8 earned 60 in sales, which I know is not all profit, but just think about it. If I take that and reinvest it in a similar pair of pants for every one of those that I could buy, it multiplies very fast. That's why I accept sales like that, because as long as I can keep up with the listing and I can source enough of it, I'll make good money. Next item. This is a Lennox Winter Greetings. Maybe I'm doing a good job distance-wise here. This is a high retail item. This retailed for 60 bucks originally. Now, if you know much about this stuff, it's sold in a lot of department stores around Christmas time, and at the end of the season, it often goes on clearance. So there's a lot more that's available at low prices than what you might expect. So even though it's a high retail, the resale is not necessarily super high. But a really cool bowl, very cute, looks nice. 60 bucks is what the retail was on this. I got $12.99 for it, because honestly, I looked them up. The sell-through is kind of slow on this stuff, on a lot of these items. There's some few that are not, but on this in particular, not super fast. And I was finding that even getting $15 to $18 was going to be really tough. And so the last thing I wanted to do, I've already had this for a year because I didn't get it listed up for Christmas last year. I gave $3, I think, for this at a yard sale. Last thing I wanted to do was store this for another year. So I said, you know what? I'm going to price it at the bottom. So I went through, found what I could find on these. I found that, you know, $13 to $14 is where the lowest price ones were falling. So I priced mine at $12.99, sold it within a week. Hey, got it out the door. Didn't make a lot of money on it, but I made a profit. All right, next item. This is a pair of, we're getting down to the last few and the better sales. So this is a pair of Duluth. These actually, this sold this morning. These are the ones that sold this morning. These are a pair of Duluth Flex Fire Hose pants, but these are fleece lined. These are super thick. See how this is one pair of pants. And so these are, you know, Duluth is a good brand, but it's kind of like Carhartt. I have found that it doesn't move maybe as fast as it used to. You know, Duluth has become, like I remember it wasn't too many years back, you didn't see Duluth in our area. I remember when I first started seeing the commercials for Duluth in Alabama, and they, you know, I heard about the first stores that were being built where we could go and shop, you know, Duluth Trading Company. And so I think with that expansion, you know, as it's grown more, become more nationwide in its retail locations, it's still expensive retail, kind of like Carhartt, but the resale market has got more saturated because it's much more available in different places around the country. And but these still brought 30 bucks, so I'll take that. Usually on this style of pants, it's always less than $10. I really can't remember where I got these at. I think it was at the Vapor thrift store, and if it was, they were probably $6.99, usually about $6.99, maybe $8.99. Either way, I should have at least tripled my money on these. So 30 bucks for those. All right, so the last item, or last two items really of this set, this is item number 13. This is an autograph, and yes, I meant art-ograph, not autograph. Kind of hard to see. This is the top. It says autograph right here. Well, it opens up, and so it's kind of like a projector, like an overhead style, but this is specifically used for art tracings. You can kind of see there the name of it. That's the lens. So these are supposed to come with 2 lenses. This is the Super Prism by Artograph. This one only had one of the lenses. If it had both lenses, I think I would have probably gotten close to $50 to $60 for this. I wound up taking an offer of $40 for it. I had it listed, I think, at closer to 50, but missing that lens really hurts. Although it does work very well. Nothing's wrong with it. The fan motor works. It's got 2 functioning bulbs in it, and tried it out. These are, I've sold several of these in just the short time that I've been doing this. I don't know if y'all run across these very often or not. Sometimes they're more projector looking style, like they set up more and they're kind of rounded at the top and it sets down over the item that it's projecting. But yeah, I mean, these really do well. So this is something to look out for. They always sell pretty fast as long as you price them right. So I got $10 or less in this. I can't remember if it's $7.99 or $9.99. Sold it for $40 plus shipping. And then the last item I think is the coolest item of the day. This is an insulator. Now this one in particular is from Bell Telephone Company of Canada, and it's actually got B.T.CO. of CAN. And this is the double diamond. It's got a diamond on the front and the back. And what really sets this one apart compared to many others is the fact that it is royal purple. Now I'm going to show you this. I'm going to light it up because I think it's just so cool. Put this light around it, and so it's got this awesome color. See if I can make it a little better, get my hand out of the way a little better. So just an awesome color. So I don't know a lot about these, but in researching this one, I gave $3 for this. Now when I saw it, I know insulators can be good. I have looked at them before. A lot of them are pretty common, and so they'll be like $20 items. And a lot of times you see them priced at $12 and $15 in a flea mall or antique store. It's not really worth it. This was at a thrift store. This was at the Foundry. This one was at the Foundry. And toward the end of my time in there, I just happened to see this sitting on a shelf, and I picked it up and looked at it. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And I liked the color of it, the fact that it was purple. I hadn't seen a purple one. And I started trying to look it up a little bit, and I was pretty sure it was going to be valuable. Now, look, it's not worth hundreds, you know, but still, this is a really awesome find and awesome sell. Be on the lookout for this color in particular. This royal purple, you know, weird designs. Okay, this was very common looking, but strange designs of these do well, and colors that are rare do really well. This sold for $65. I had it listed for, I think, $79, but I took an offer of $65. We would negotiate it back and forth. The guy's a collector. He asked some specific questions about it. I helped him try to identify the style of it. They're all given a style code. And so I wound up taking an offer of $65, and that kind of capped things off as far as the sales today. So 14 items again going out today specifically for $481.74. But in total, and I may put a little recap of these at the end just to show you the other 13 items that sold Friday and Saturday that I had already shipped. All together, it was 27 items for $832.11. So, I mean, a good little span of 4 or 5 days there for sales, and things are still doing pretty well. I mean, if you look at that, if you called that 5 days, that's better than 5 sales a day. And I feel like even though it spans 5 days, it's really more like 4 days of sales because there's a couple of Friday sales that are not included on that. And there will no doubt be some Wednesday sales from this afternoon that are also not included in that. So I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit. But let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If I went back and got the extra Friday sales, I think it's closer to 6 items per day. So look, man, I know there's resellers out there that's killing it. There's people with huge operations, people that's just selling a world of items, and have employees and everything else. And some might even laugh at what I'm doing, you know, as a reseller, in terms of the number of sales and the amount of money that I'm making. But I mean, I'm good with it. I'm just getting started. I'm not all about money. I'm not trying to see how much I can make, though I do have some goals and some ambition. You know, at some point it would be great. You know, number one, we're trying to take care of my mom. You know, that's my goal, is to have time and to still have the income that we need to pay our bills and take care of my mother. But if if things go well, it would also be nice for my wife to have the option to work with me at some point and to not have to be tied to her 9-to-5 job. But we got a ways to go on that. And I'm aware of that. And, it's something that she's still even debating if she really wants to do. So, again, I'd like her to have the option. Do I think for sure she'll take it if she does? I don't know. But at least if she has that option, it's something that, we can open the door to when it comes to that. And anyway, hope you enjoyed it today. Just going to try to edit this down and keep it short. But remember, I love you. God loves you more than I do. I'll tell you, if you don't know him, get to know him. It'll be the best decision you'll ever make. Take care. And guys, just keep going and don't give up. See you on the next one.